Hello y'all, and welcome to YoungFolk Knits. Today I want to catch you up a little bit on what I have been doing lately. I have a finished object, I have some new cast-ons, a test knit, only one at the moment, and I'll also have my spring color palette that I'm super excited to share with you. A little bit of spinning at the end as well, and a giveaway. So make sure and stick around till the end because you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Hello y'all, and welcome back to YoungFolk Knits. My name is Casey, and if you're new here, this is a channel where I really like to focus a lot on my love of fiber arts. So it's very knitting heavy, but I also sometimes share some sewing and some spinning and other crafts as well. Occasionally I'll share a bit about living on a small farm here in Arkansas where my husband, myself, and our children are beekeepers. We love gardens and chickens and animals and spending time outdoors here in the foothills of the Ozarks. So if any of that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, then make sure and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any future content. Today I have a lot of knitting to share, which is my love in life. I'm really looking forward to sharing my spring color palette because I have picked out these colors to knit specific projects with, and I really like how they're all vibing together. And then at the end I have some spinning content and a giveaway. So make sure and hang in till the end if you can because you definitely don't want to miss out on the giveaway. I'm very happy to say that today I am starting off with a finished object. So as you can tell by what I'm wearing, I did finish my Celeste sweater. I almost said Celeste tee. Is there a Celeste tee pattern? Anyway, I finished my Celeste sweater. This is a pattern by Petite Knit, and it is a circular colorwork yoke sweater. It has a 1x1 ribbed mock neck that I absolutely love, and it features a really beautiful Scandinavian style colorwork pattern. But a few things I love about this colorwork pattern is that it only uses 2 colors per row, and there's no long floats that you absolutely have to catch. There may have been a time where I did catch a float, but I really didn't have to. It's just sort of you get used to catching floats, and so I did, but this is a pattern you don't have to. So if you have even a little bit of experience in colorwork knitting, or you're a proficient knitter but you've never done colorwork before, I think that this is something you could definitely do as a first colorwork sweater. I wouldn't suggest it as your first ever sweater, but I think a first colorwork sweater would work because it only has 2 colors per row and it doesn't have long floats. Now, with that being said, you are utilizing a lot of different colors. So there's a lot of ends to weave in. You are, using 2 colors per row and cutting those yarns and adding new ones in very often. So that does leave you a lot of colors to weave in, but it's totally worth it in my opinion. So a few stats about this sweater. It is a DK weight gauge. You know what? Let me actually pull something up really quick on Ravelry on the pattern. I have a lot of trouble with Ravelry. Not that I can't figure out how to use it, I just haven't figured out how to do a lot of things in it, and I did not even realize that there was an app. And Jackie Rose not too long ago told me, you know, you should be using a Rabbit app, which is the Ravelry app. And I was like, what? So I'm still trying to remind myself that I have that and I need to use it. Okay, so it should be under notebook. Okay, there it is. Celeste sweater pattern in English. So the sizes go from extra, extra small through 5XL. And the bust circumference goes from 96 centimeters to 160 centimeters, or 37 3/4 inches to 63 inches. And so the gauge for stockinette on this is 20 stitches by 30 rows. It's a little different for the Colorwork tension, but the stockinette is 20 stitches by 30 rows. And I believe she recommends Peer Gynt. Yes. So that is a DK weight Sandnesgarn yarn that is Norwegian wool, I believe. It's definitely not merino soft, but I don't feel like it's incredibly itchy either. It just doesn't feel like, oh, this is so silky smooth. You know, it definitely has a woolly feel to it. I chose to use a mixture. So my main color is Double Sunday by Sandnesgarn, which is a non-superwash merino. And for my color work, I used some Double Sunday colors, but also some Peer Gynt colors. They are both supposed to be a DK weight. However, the Peer Gynt has a more woolen spun look to it, and therefore it's a bit fluffier and it looks more like a worsted weight to me. I could definitely use it in worsted weight patterns and easily get a worsted weight gauge. The Sandnesgarn Double Sunday is more of a true DK weight in my opinion, and it is, okay, I don't know what I said a second ago, but Peer Gynt looks to be a woolen spun yarn, and Double Sunday appears to be a worsted spun yarn. Sorry if I said that backwards a minute ago. But because the Double Sunday is that worsted spun merino, it's got a ton of plies in it. It's very bouncy and it's very round and smooth. Whereas the Peer Gynt, you know, you've got that more rustic floofiness. So I definitely didn't get the exact same gauge with both of them, but they meshed beautifully together in the pattern. In fact, if you're just looking at it, I can tell which one was Peer Gynt and which is Double Sunday, but I don't know if anybody else could. It's hard to tell just by looking at it. I also think that the Peer Gynt softened after soaking and blocking, and I bet that the more I wear this, the softer the Peer Gynt will become as well. So that is a yarn I'm going to be keeping at the back of my mind as something that has a really nice price for a 100% wool Scandinavian or Norwegian yarn that is non-superwash and has some really nice classic colors. So I will be more likely to use this in the future now that I've tried it out and I like it. So I ended up making the size 6, and as you can see, I have a lot of positive ease. So I have, my bust measurement changes literally by the week. It really does. Hormones. I have a lot of hormone stuff. And I have a lot of autoimmune issues that cause me to swell, and that affects my bust measurement by the week. So my bust measurement is though in the upper 40s, and this ended up being like upper 50 inches. I want to say that I got like 59 inches after soaking and blocking. It grew quite a bit with blocking. So I have a full 10 inches of positive ease, and you can really tell it in the arms and under the arms. Like here's my underarm, and it actually comes down quite a bit, but I really like how it fit. I was so scared that it was going to be too oversized, but it ended up fitting just the way I wanted it to. One thing I really like and that I've had trouble with is that a lot of times with circular yokes, to get a better fit, I feel like I have to size down below what is recommended for my bust measurement so that it fits me more tightly in the shoulders. But with this style of the neck that she did, with this positive ease, I feel like the yoke is actually setting on me where like this circle is coming all the way down like it does on pictures of smaller models like Petite Knit herself. A lot of times with a circular yoke, like it'll be way up here on me and it'll be way down here, down their shoulder on the smaller models. So that actually turned out to be in the same place on me as it is on the smaller modeled pictures. And I think that that's nice because it can be frustrating as a larger sized individual to see these pictures modeled on a smaller framed person and love how the sweater fits on them, and then to make it in the size, you know, recommended for you in the pattern, and to see that it doesn't look the same, which that's just the way it is. You know, I'm okay with not looking the same as the small model, but I feel like the line of a sweater should be able to be made to fit in the same place on me as it is fitting on somebody else. That is what grading is for. So I'm just really happy with the fact that it did that for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with the neckline. It is this ribbed, 1x1 ribbed mock neck, and because you start it and you go straight into the pattern and you're not picking up a neckline, it's able to pull the neckline out. And I feel like in this case, that's a good thing. It helps it to set in a nice place. Whereas if it was a sweater that had a short collar, it may not, I don't know, it may not look like it was setting in the right place. I don't know. Maybe that does look good though. I can't tell from here. I can't see in my viewfinder. I think what I'm trying to say is I'm really happy with how this turned out, and it's a pattern I would absolutely recommend. I think a lot of people have been making it lately, and I can tell you it's for good reason. This took me a really long time to make because I cast it on maybe right after, I don't know, I think I cast it on in October, November, and in like 2 days, I worked through the entire yoke and split for sleeves. And then I had a whole lot of stuff going on, some test knits to do, like 4 actually. Let me see. 5 test knits were due after I cast this on. So I had to just put this down, and I knew I was going to have to. I knew that was the way it was going to be, but I was so excited to go ahead and cast it on that I did that anyway. And then it set and languished for a while. So I was really excited whenever I got to pick it back up. And it just knit up so quickly because all I had was stockinette at that point. It does have short row shaping, and you do it after you work the color work and before you split for sleeves. So the short row shaping actually goes into the sleeves and around the front a bit, but I think it has made for a really nice fit. I also really liked that I could use 16-inch circulars for a lot of the sleeve before I had to decrease to the point where I no longer could. One thing I will mention about the sleeves is that she has you, for my size, I think you only decreased 6 times, and I added 2 extra increases in because my gauge was a little bit bigger than hers. So I did 2 extra increases, and I shortened the number of rows between each increase. Then I did 2x2 ribbing on the cuff, and I did a little bit shorter. I think she calls for 4 inches for the cuff, and I did 3 inches, I believe. And then I did a Italian bind off. I did not do the 2 rows of double knitting before the sewn bind off bit because I find that mine actually looks neater and cleaner and more low profile without doing those 2 rows, and I'm usually happier with the results when I don't do them. Some yarn I find it does look good with, but most of the time this is my preferred bind off method. And I did that for my bottom ribbing as well. And then for my cast on edge, I did a tubular bind on, or cast on, a tubular cast on. And honestly, I have gotten to the point, because I just, if it's going to be seen at all, I pretty much will always do a tubular cast on. And I've gotten to the point where the tubular cast on is quicker for me than a long tail cast on, because I do it on one needle. I do all my stitches at once, and you know, you just are wrapping that yarn and you're doing it so quick that the hand motion is way faster for me than the motion of a long tail cast on. Now there's lots of different ways that you can do a tubular cast on. I do not do provisional. I don't do crocheted. I find that that just takes so much longer. And I don't do it where you know, put on a certain number of stitches and then you're doing the yarn overs and doubling your stitches. I don't do that. I find that for me personally, the single needle tubular cast on, where you cast on all your stitches just by wrapping your yarn in a certain way, I can fly through that and it works so quickly. So I will link a video for the cast on. That is my method, my preferred method. And I know that most of y'all already know what I'm talking about, but I also think that there's constantly new knitters that are joining the community and maybe find my channel. And so I always want to make sure that I include, you know, details of how you can do the same technique if you've not heard of it before, because I think it will continue to make your knitting more efficient and fun. I think I've been talking about this for like 20 minutes now, but I do want to show you the bottom of the sweater. It's just got a really nice fit to it. It's hitting me. So here's my belly button, and here's where the sweater hits me at. I also really like wearing it like this and rolling up my sleeves, because I feel like I look really cool. All right, moving on to my current whips. So y'all, I know I put a spring inspiration video out last week, and I had a few comments like, it's not even close to spring here. And I just want to say, I wish it wasn't really that close to spring here either. But it is currently, let's see, what is today? Today's February 27th. And it is 82 degrees today. It is very, very windy, but it is so sunny and very warm today. So rolled up sleeves are where it's at. You know, they say about March comes in like a lion, go out like a lamb. What is involved in coming in like a lion? Does it involve snow, or can it just be like super windy, crazy weather with storms, really cold? Or does it have to mean like a blizzard? What is entailed in coming in like a lion? I don't know. But March, let's see, what the first day of March is Friday, and Thursday and Friday the highs are 52 degrees and 60 degrees, whereas today the high is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Isn't that interesting? That's not what I would call lion-like weather. Okay, let me show you a little bit about what else I have been working on. First of all, I want to say that this is the last week of the Woolly Knit and YoungFolk Knits Wool Along, which has been super fun. And in case you still want to join in, you can post a project on Instagram using any wool yarn, because we love wool. And use the hashtag YKXYFK. And I have not had this problem, but some people have said that the hashtags are not showing up all of the pictures. So why don't you go ahead and tag me and Woolly Knit in your posts as well, just to make sure that we can see all of them, and that way you'll be eligible to win the 75-pound gift card from Woolly Knit. Also, through March 4th, you can still get 20% off of Woolly Knit's new DK merino combs, their regular merino combs, and their British wool hanks and combs. So that's a really awesome deal. 20% off is nothing to sneeze about. I have gotten a few myself, and all you have to do is use the code Casey20 at checkout to receive that discount. So that's going to last until the end of the knit along, where you can use that to get your British wool combs and hanks. So I have been working on the heirloom quilt cardigan, and I made a little bit of a mathematical error in this. I think mainly I just was not paying attention to the pattern at all. So I've decided that since I had started off making the size 2 squares, in the end, I think that the finished circumference is just going to be too big for me. This is a 59-inch circumference, and it's oversized on me. I think 70 inches, which would be the finished circumference for that cardigan, is just too much. So I'm going to make the size 1 squares, and I'm going to block them slightly bigger than the size 1 squares call for, but definitely not as big as the size 2. And that way I'll get a little bit bigger than the size 1 finished circumference, but just a little bit, just a few inches is all I would want to be, bigger than what it calls for. So I am just continuing to make squares, and I'll just tell y'all, it's a process. Got to make a lot of squares, and I'm a little depressed that the first 3 I made will not be usable for my cardigan. So I believe what I'm going to do is rip them out. At first I thought, well, maybe I'll make a little bag or something with the 3. But no, I'm going to rip them out and reuse the yarn for smaller squares. I think that's, it's already been cut. C130s. Gotta love them. My dogs go nuts over C130s. So this is something that I'm just going to continue to plug away at. I think I may be making squares for a while, but that's okay because I think that this sweater is absolutely gorgeous. It's a pattern by Katrin Seeberger, and I will link it in the description below, but I just think it's such a beautiful concept. I'm all about the quilt squares. Okay, next up I want to show y'all a test knit that I'm doing. So this is a cardigan that I'm testing for Florence, and you can find her on YouTube and on Instagram under Handmade by Florence. And like the bad podcaster I am, I'm in the middle of a row. So this is a pattern that she has written up to be part of her series for teaching new knitters to knit garments. So she's done a raglan pullover, and actually I think she's done socks. I may be making that up, I need to check, but I feel like she's also done socks. And now she's doing this cardigan. And what she does is provide a free pattern on Ravelry, and then she makes step-by-step videos that you can watch on YouTube along with the pattern to create your own raglan or cardigan. And I think that's a great resource for new knitters, because being able to visually see something and have someone tell you how to work a written pattern is just so useful, because you're going to be following written patterns for the rest of your knitting life. And I think for one of the first times that you're doing that, to have someone actually visually reading through what you're supposed to be doing and showing you, it just is invaluable. So I love that she's doing that. The reason I wanted to test knit this is because I had gotten some Noro Madara yarn in the color Sake, and I knew I wanted to make a cardigan because I had seen some really cool raglan style cardigans made out of this yarn, and I really wanted one myself. There wasn't really the perfect pattern that met the gauge that I was getting with this yarn. So whenever I saw that she got the same yarn and decided to make a cardigan with a double knit button band, it was everything I was dreaming that I knew I wanted in a cardigan for this yarn. But then I was not going to have to do any math of any kind, which was just exactly what I wanted, because I'm so busy that sometimes I just can't math it out. I just don't have the time to make my brain work. This checked all my boxes. I was very excited. I have one row left before I split for sleeves, and I really wanted to do that before I videoed today, but this was the only moment I had to jump on and record. So you'll just have to see it like this. I really think that the Noro Madara yarn is cool, and it's a single ply blend of alpaca and wool and silk, and what else is in it? I want to say something else, but mainly those three things. And it has these lovely tweedy bits. I recently finished a pullover in it in the color 22, which is this nice rich brown, and I loved it. But I had been saving this for the exact perfect project, because this color, which is 01 sake, it's very difficult to find. I just really love all of the tweedy bits in here. I just think it's so pretty. It's definitely, I don't know how to explain this, but when I had seen the finished garments and pictures of them on Instagram and on Ravelry, they looked a little bit more neutral. And as I'm knitting this up, it's definitely, you know, what I would still consider a neutral, but it has very strong rainbow tweed in it. And from a distance, it still has that neutral look, but when you get close, there's lots and lots of bright colors, which is very pretty. But it's brighter than I anticipated. So I'm excited to see what it will look like when it's done. I'm going to split for sleeves in like an hour, and then I'm going to knit the body. I'll pick up and do the double knit button band, and I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to do sleeves, because I don't really like my sleeves flapping around while I'm doing a button band. That's personal choice. I like to do my button band first and then sleeves. Instead of really talking about any more whips, I really want to show you guys some yarn that I've got out, because I'm planning on using it in spring projects. And then I want to talk a little bit about spinning. All right, y'all, this is my spring color palette. And I am loving it. First of all, I want to show you this yarn, which I bought from Little Fox Yarn Co., one of my favorite dyers. And this is the color Lemon Squeezy. Now, you may recognize this because last spring I started a Birds of a Feather shawl in this color. I was using a non-superwash merino singles base and the Surrey alpaca base in the Lemon Squeezy. Okay. This is a blend of silk and merino wool, and it's incredibly soft. It's a fingering weight. It's called the Vixen base, and it is on the Lemon Squeezy color as well. I absolutely adore this color. I had my colors done, and I'm a true warm autumn, supposedly, and this is not on the power colors for me, and I don't even care. I'm telling you what, I love this. So my plan for this is to make a dappled lace raglan by James N. Watts. I got 3 skeins of this, and that should be plenty for me to even decide on how long I want the sleeves. But I already know, I think I want it to be short sleeve. And I just think in this color, it's going to be so much fun. I am so excited. Okay, next up, I bought these 3 yarns. So this is Spinster's Daughter, which is a collab between Spin Cycle and Farmer's Daughter Fibers. Farmer's Daughter Fibers dyes it. And then this is Oh Dang, which is a base from Farmer's Daughter Fibers in the color something. Oh wow, I totally forgot the name of this. Anyway, I decided to make another test-legged cardigan. Y'all, I have lost my mind. I did not think I was ever going to finish that cardigan. That stitch pattern is stunning and beautiful, but it was I'm just going to be honest, that stitch pattern's a bit of a slog. Worth it, but a bit of a slog. And for some reason, here I am, and I've decided I'm going to make another one. I love the fit of mine so much, and this is my year of cardigans. So I think this would be a really fun bracelet sleeve length, and a bit more cropped with pretty much 0 positive ease. That is my plan. Isn't this a fun spring and summer color combo? I love it. So I'm going to cast this on probably today. We'll see. I want to though. I also have this, which I got because I pulled out a project that I had been working on since a year or more ago. And I just wasn't finishing it. I was afraid it was going to be something that was going to end up being too warm in the pattern that I was using it for. And I just probably wouldn't wear it. This is my Cashmere Merino Bloom from Pearl Soho, and it was very kindly gifted to me by Pearl Soho, and it's the color Wheat Flower. So I have recently seen Petite Knit's new Esther jacket, and I kind of sort of fell in love with it. Like I need any more cardigans at the moment. Like, that's all I'm knitting. So I really think that this yarn, I've been searching for the perfect project for it, and that might be it. I don't know. As you can tell, it's not like I've cast on or anything. I don't even own the pattern, but I think it's so beautiful. And the other pattern that I was thinking about using this for is the Jenny jacket, the V-neck Jenny cardigan, and a viewer very kindly gifted me that pattern. I was super excited. I haven't mentioned this before, but I do have a pattern wish list on Ravelry, and if you ever are so inclined to support the channel by gifting a pattern, then I would always be extremely appreciative of that. I recently was gifted the Jenny cardigan. Then not too long before that, a viewer kindly gifted me the Moonset Tee pattern by Ozetta. So I'm very excited about that. I also wasn't sure if this might be perfect for the Moonset Tee, but I have some yarn that I got last year, and it's been setting that I got specifically to make the Moonset Tee. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do the raglan, the dappled lace raglan tee in this yarn. So I just want to say thank you. You guys know who you are. Thank you so much for supporting the channel by gifting those patterns. I really appreciate it. Okay, I want to quickly chat a little bit about spinning, and I have something exciting to tell y'all as well. This got caught on something as I was bringing it over to show you, so it's a little worse for wear. I finished another sleeve yarn for my Traveler hoodie spin. So this is some fiber that I'm using from Hello Yarn. I'm doing a combo spin, and I'm doing a true combo spin in the sense that it is a combination of different colorways, different fibers as well from different braids. And the way I'm doing that is dividing it into sections, and then I'm taking and pulling, I'm dividing each braid up into sections and into, you know, smaller pieces, and then I'm putting those in a pile of each color. And then what I'm doing is I'm just sort of going through and randomly grabbing about 4 of those at a time, you know, from each different color, and making little nestlets out of them that I will at random pull one of those little nestlets of 4 out and spin them. And so it's going to be random order, and then at the end I will apply those bobbins together to make a 2-ply. So I already have one sleeve yarn over here, and I finished my second one. It's still drying though. I'm trying to use up my club colors from Hello Yarn. So that's why there are, you know, quite a bit of different colors in there, but I'm really happy with it. I really like the colors a lot. I think it's going to be fun and different. I specifically tried to divide my sleeve yarn up, my sleeve fiber up differently than the way I was going to do the body, because the circumference of your sleeves is smaller than the circumference of your body. So to get a similar stripe width, you need to have less fiber per color. And so I did that separate for my sleeves, and now I'm ready to move on to my body and go ahead and spin up the yarn for that. Primrose Yarn Company recently surprised me and sent me this gorgeous braid of fiber, and it is in the colorway Ozark Dreaming. I think it's just so beautiful. So it is really pretty dark saturated colors in this braid, and it's just all of my favorite dark saturated colors. And I think that the peaches and the reds and the greens with this deep blue, it's just really pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? So saturated. She has already spun this up and she is using it in a design, and I am going to spin mine up as well. I'm so excited to see what this looks like. I just think that with these dark colors, it's going to really make the lighter colors pop, and I'm excited to see what that looks like plied together. So I'm going to so the way I'm going to spin this up is by dividing the braid in half lengthwise, and then I'm just going to spin it end to end and ply it with itself in a 2-ply. And I think that I am going to use 2 or 3 of these braids to have enough to use in a shawl. I just think it's so gorgeous. And the exciting part is that she sent me an extra braid so that I can give away one of these fiber braids to y'all. So all you have to do to enter to win this beautiful braid is to comment on this video and mention the fiber, so I know that you are interested in winning it. Will be entered into a random prize drawer on the internet that will choose a winner for me, and I will send the prize out to them after announcing it next week. So make sure and comment between now and next week when I post my next video so I can get the prize sent out to y'all. So this is also the same yarn company that I found at Rhinebeck, and I got the yarn to make my pressed flowers cardigan with, my main color, and I'm so excited. I have not forgotten about that. I'm still slowly spinning away at my contrast color. I only have one braid spun up, and I think I need 3 to have, make sure I have enough for the full cardigan. So I'm still working on that, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cast on soon because I can be spinning for the rest of it as I'm using my first braid up. Hopefully next week I will have a braid of this spun up that I can show you how it looks plied. And also this is being dyed up so that next week when I announce the winner, after that, if you did not win and you would still like to get some of this colorway, there's going to be a shop update a few days after that. I think that Saturday. I will let y'all know more details next week on the video, but that will then be available to buy from their website. Okay, I want to show you one last thing before I go, and that is a sock that I cast on. This is part of the Summerly Knits, one of her summer shorty sock patterns. Her patterns usually come with like 3 different variations on the same sort of base pattern, and this one is the one that has the little short sock with the ruffle at the top. I think it's just an adorable pattern. So I'm knitting the 64 stitch sock, and I'm knitting it in a Taylor Swift colorway from Ruby and Rose's yarn. So she very kindly gifted this to me to try out before her release that she just did of Taylor Swift yarn, and I really love this Wanderlust colorway because I think it is just so cute for socks. It's so pink and pretty, but it has these bright red, orangey red and purple pops in it, which I'm feeling for spring. As y'all know, this is not a color I can really get away with for a full garment, but I'm like, wow, we're better than in socks. Could I use this super fun color? So I am having a lot of fun. I have not spent much time at all working on these. I basically did my heel flap and heel turn, and I haven't got to devote much more time to it, but I could whip this out pretty quick because all I have is the foot left. These are so, shorty socks are the best. They're so fast. And one thing that I was really excited about is that Silly Monkey recently gifted me a set of their sock blockers. So I have some wooden sock blockers and I love them. I think they're pretty to look at, but I have really been wanting some of these low profile metal with nothing in between the fabric so that the airflow can really move. A lot of times if I'm in a hurry to dry socks, after I've washed them and I want to block them so they'll be all pretty, I will put them on my sock blockers and then I will put a fan on them. And what I love about these is that you can actually hang these up. They come with a little hanger, so they're not laying down flat. You can put them like this and get airflow all the way through them, all over, and they're going to dry so much faster. But what I love is that because of the metal material, They are not super costly, and you can get this pack where they come in the whole family sizes. So you've got kids, you've got, you know, women or teenagers or smaller feet, and then you have larger size feet here. And you can actually hang them all up on this other hanger that they give you, which is just to hold the sock blockers up. So you can be blocking like 3 pair at once. And I think that's really, really cool. So I am excited that I'm going to have these to block my little ruffle socks as soon as they get done. And I wanted to share these with y'all because I think that, because this was gifted, but I really do think that this is a very ideal way to soak and block your socks. And I was very drawn to the wooden ones, and I think that they're beautiful, but this is my preferred way to block socks now. It really is. Block your socks. These sock blockers will knock your socks off. I'm sorry this was such a long and chatty episode. I try to keep them around 30 minutes, but I can already tell this was a long one, and I do apologize for that. Don't forget to comment and mention the fiber so I know you're interested in being entered to win it. Next week, I hope I've got some new sewing to show you. I have got a lot of sewing plans, and I've been getting my fabric out. I've had a lot of different patterns that I've printed. I've gotten them out and cut things out, and I'm ready to get going on some spring sewing. So I hope I've got a lot of that to show you next week. Don't forget, this is the last week for the wool along. So use that hashtag WKXYFK to enter. And also, very, very shortly, the knit along with Sari Nordland for the Pohjola, if that's how you say it. I think that's probably not how you say it. So I'm going to ask Sari to send me a voice note on how to say that. That knit along is starting next week, and I'm very, very looking forward to knitting that with all of you. And don't forget, she has put that pattern on sale for 20% off right now. So if you want to get it to join the knit along or just to have it, then that's a great deal. I think it's going to be a stunning, stunning circular yoke colorwork sweater. I need another one like this before summer hits. And it's that fingering weight, so it's going to be absolutely lovely fabric in the end, if we can make it through the colorwork. All right, y'all, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you're enjoying some spring weather where you're at. And until next time, happy knitting, y'all.